Brothers and sisters, if you take my position here and looking around, looking at you, looking at the priests on both sides, and looking at the three bishops with us this afternoon, it is and knowing that you are not only from Davao, but you come from almost all local churches of Mindanao. And not only that, one of the bishops here, as you know, is the National Spiritual Director of the Divine Mercy Apostolate Philippines. And knowing that one of you represents the Visayas, the lady from the region Bacolod, and then one representing Luzon, one of you coming from, I think, I'm old, but I still remember very well, somebody from the parish of Las Piñas, belonging to the Paranaque, representing Luzon. So this is really an extraordinary sight, extraordinary assembly of God's people with a particular color, with a particular heartbeat, kumbaga, that we try our best, we nurture our faith by seeing this particular dimension of God's presence in our lives. And that is God's mercy and goodness for each one of us. So even if we are somehow closing now, allow me to welcome you. I was absent yesterday at the beginning because I hope the word somehow spread around that I could not be around. I had an ordination yesterday, and the ordination was in Samal. And in these days in Davao, many of you would know there's a ferry that crosses back and forth from the mainland to the island. But these days, you have to spend hours in waiting for the ferry. So it was quite a trip yesterday. But as I said to myself, even if I was absent, I know that I'll be here with you this afternoon. I'm happy in particular that I did not expect this many priests to come and attend. I'm happy that Bishop Abel of Mati is here. He is from Davao. And also so happy to see Bishop Ver of Dipolog. And as an aside, I don't know if you know this, but those from Dupim, I pray, hope that somebody from Dipolog, a priest, a missionary, would someday be canonized as saint. Father Paliola and Bishop Ver is the one spearheading, preparing all the documents, all necessary things needed in order for the causa, or Father Paliola to be canonized. That's from the Polog. And of course, Bishop Santos, Bishop Stud, not only the National Spiritual Director, but also my dear friend. Though I look very much older, but we were contemporaries in Rome. And then also going back to Rome, he was asked to serve the Collegio Filipino in Rome. So we were quite, and then he became a bishop. So even if he's from Bataan, we share some particular closeness and some jokes with Bishop Stud. Thank you for coming, Bishop Stud. Now, we close the special assembly for Divine Mercy Apostolate Chapters of Mindanao. And again, thank you for coming together. It is just by looking at one another and listening to one another already that is a source of comfort and inspiration for all of us. Now, I know you've had good talks in these 2 days, but allow me to share a few things in this liturgy that we're having this afternoon. I think you agree with me that the focus and the devotion to the Divine Mercy and the particular teachings around this devotion would bring us always, I think it's very healthy to bring us always to the event that is represented by the whole devotion of Divine Mercy. And that event, when we celebrate the second Sunday of Easter, is looking back, because the actual event, that is the phenomenon, the source of the actual happening that we can say, wow, this is Divine Mercy, is the Easter Triduum, the passion and death of Jesus. In fact, the painting, you can see it well, shows us in a very different way, but shows us the passion of Jesus. On Good Friday, 3 o'clock prayer, the death of Jesus. That's why the feast would bring us back with more appreciation to the passion and death of Jesus, the center event of our salvation. Therefore, I would like us to, for this Mass, to consider that the Divine Mercy spirituality, the Divine Mercy apostolate, the whole devotion urges us to become closer, a profound appreciation and understanding of the event of God's passion, death, and resurrection. And that is very important, because it is in that event, in the most wonderful way, beyond imagination, we saw and we continue to see the mercy and compassion of the Lord. And in particular, it is very healthy, I believe, that our devotion, our focus on the Divine Mercy will always be, among other things, will always be fed by the Holy Eucharist, which is the recalling, the memorial, the one that Jesus said, do this in memory of me. Therefore, in a way, when we become active, sincere, committed members of this particular apostolate, Divine Mercy Apostolate, we can, with confidence, say with Saint Paul in today's first reading, kumbaga, these lectures, these prayer sessions, all these beautiful mga ginagmay nga mga pag-ampo, all this would help us to proclaim like what Saint Paul says. But we have the mind of Christ. Again, the devotion will help us to become very close to Jesus, to see Him quite close. And that is very possible when we frequent ourselves with sincere hearts to participate day in and day out, especially every Sunday, in the Holy Eucharist. The Paschal mystery made present in our midst in the holy sacrifice of the Mass. Now, two things can happen to us when we become close to Jesus, and we come close to Jesus in the Eucharist. One, we become like Him. I have said this quite a number of times in Davao. When we were, there's Monsignor Tony here, where is he? Maybe this side. When we were studying, well, Bishop Jimmy, the one who was there yesterday, we were classmates. But during our time, there was no verb, Christify. We have never heard of the word Christified. But now in one of the songs we hear, Christify, or we are Christified. When we come to Mass, we are Christified. We have the mind of Christ. And therefore, my dear friends, if we become like Him, we are crucified. The devotion does not remain external. Very boldly we can say, we ourselves can become also mercy and compassion. We are crucified. But also, that's very personal, very personal. The other side is this. When we come to the Eucharist, this beautiful sacrament, we don't only think of ourselves, but we always think that the Eucharist is an invitation for many. So good pa lang, initial pa lang, ang misa would always put in our minds that we are a family, that we are many who are called by Jesus. Saints and sinners, all together called by Jesus. So, on the one hand, we are Christified. We become very close to Jesus. According to St. Paul, we have the mind of Jesus, but also we are called to become representations of Jesus to those around us. And therefore, ang usa ka maayo nga member sa apostolate will always be looking towards others, will be looking over the fence, kumbaga. Not only our group, that is very necessary, very helpful. We become saintly, as it were. We are helped, as it were. We are encouraged, as it were, to be Christified. But that would move us to go outside to those among us who need, in the community, who need to know Jesus more, especially His mercy and compassion. Again, I thank that you have this schedule, this organization to meet as a region, as a diocese, and then national level, and I heard Asian level. Beautiful. Now, I would like to close something that I came across last August 17. Magbasa-basa man ko sa mga church news. And August 17, barely 2 weeks. Barely 2 weeks. The article says, as Pope, he published his second encyclical. His desire to establish this feast. And this was very much publicized on August 17, many years ago in Poland, when he publicly prayed for the church, for God's people to receive the mercy and forgiveness of the Lord. And it's very timely that when John Paul, now St. John Paul II, said that, the present Pope underlined all the more that this God, this Lord, that we wish to be close to us, this Lord who wished for us to be close to Him, is really the Lord of mercy and compassion. And we are told by this present Pope, when it comes to our daily life, he said, Pope Francis, if you get tired of struggling to be good, if you are discouraged to be good and strong in your faith, and you are tempted to give up, Pope Francis says, remember, God will never give you up. The Lord will never get tired of you. So today, in this Mass, as we close our special gathering, it is a time for an occasion to renew our faith in this good Lord, and renew our faith in the grace of being present to one another, especially in the community of devotees of the Divine Mercy Apostolate. I would like to close by my personal testimony that I have told this yesterday, that as a bishop in Davao, I am very happy of the presence of the Divine Mercy devotees, the Divine Mercy Apostolate. They don't keep to themselves, but ang tatak nila, ang ilang dating, if we use that word, they're always with us in the life of the parish, always showing the love for the Lord and the love for the church. And particularly, I know very well in silent ways that they pay attention to the needy and to those who need the mercy and goodness of the Lord. This present Pope, I believe, Pope Francis, is presently using another word for mercy and compassion, I believe. And he says, the challenge today is to show to people the tenderness of God. I believe that's another translation of mercy and compassion. The tenderness of God. Again, the challenge for us as we struggle to be faithful, committed, active members of the Divine Mercy Apostolate is to be really Christified. And being Christified, we become really in our life, deeds and words, mercy and compassion. In the end, showing to others the tenderness of the good Lord in our lives.